Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my amazing friend and co-host, Jonathan. Jonathan's back. He's
I'm
back
back.
here
I'm
to
here.
cover the Amazing Race Canada, not Canada, USA season 34 with me. Jonathan, how are you?
Definitely not Canada. I'm really good. I'm really good, and I'm glad this is not the Canadian version because I wasn't pleased with that one. But this one is so good right away, and I can't wait to talk about it because so much happens already.
Me as well. You had started watching it before I had, and you had were like, "Oh my god, this is so good, so quickly, like right out of the gate."
Yeah,
And then I started watching it myself, and I was like, "Yep, you are right, pretty much right out of the gate." Like it had like a sparkle to it.
had a sparkle. Had this kind of like I don't love changes, a lot. I'm traditionalist, but at the same time, they announced these changes, which we'll talk about and we'll get into later. But they are just enough, they're just right. It's like the perfect kind of like welcome back kind of a vibe. I feel like this is the first season that's really doesn't feel like it's weighed down by the pandemic and things like that. So it really felt like such
Felt
a
good.
fresh start, like a good, you know,
Felt so good.
felt good.
It felt so good. Jelly Donuts is with us. This was the most chaotic episode I can remember, but it was so good at the same time. It was a chaotic mess, and I enjoyed every moment of it. I was really, really, really I really enjoyed it. And I kind of was like, damn it, I wish I didn't have to take notes because I kind of just want to sit and watch it. So I don't know how good my notes are because I was enjoying it that much, but we will get through this
Yeah,
episode.
it's a hard one to take notes for. So, because yeah, it was all over
Especially
the
the
place.
first episode because I'm trying to write down people's names and like as we'll talk about, there's some new changes. So formatting that was a little bit different. And so yeah, it's going to take a little getting used to, but I'm happy we have a new season. I'm really excited to talk about it. I'm also talking about the Amazing Race Australia right now, which has also been a decently good season, but it has all these COVID things that have happened. So we are very much reminded of what's been going on in the world. And so I agree with you. This felt really fresh. It felt like they got different cameras. Like, I don't know what it was, but it just looked really vibrant, shiny. Jelly Donuts has so many thoughts, but I honestly don't. But I don't honestly know exactly what I have questions on. It was a mess in a fabulous way. Yes. Hi, Joseph. This was a home run, but I have my thoughts. I think we're all in the same boat here.
I feel
I'm
like I said the
curious.
same thing, like when I was first locked on with Chantel. I was like, I have thoughts, loved it, but I have thoughts.
So Jelly Donut thinks the start was boring. I prefer nighttime starts, but it picked up once they started getting to the task. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I agree or not. I haven't really thought about how it started, like nighttime versus daytime. Do you have any opinions?
Well, I mean, it started in another country,
Yeah, which is the
which was
first
the
time that
first.
that's
Yeah,
ever happened.
and I was like, I didn't even realize that. Like, I didn't even not that they were in another country, but I didn't realize that it hasn't happened before. I like a daytime start. I like kind of like it feels like you're waking up, you're like ready to go. I don't
Starting
know.
the day with these
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I like a daytime start myself.
And I this was different as well. So firstly, they started in Munich, Germany, which I've never visited. Have you been to Germany
No,
before?
no.
So I haven't somewhere I have not been. I don't know very much about the language at all. I can sing a few songs in German, but other than that, just a little bit of Bitten and Danke, Dankeschön.
Listen,
Basically
Heidi
says.
Klum has taught me everything I know about Germany, and that's about it. So,
A vision.
yeah.
Do you know what? Though, speaking of Heidi Klum, I did used to watch Germany's Next Top Model, and it had the subtitles. But like listening to it, I did learn a little bit of German. I felt like I was German because I was like und Model. Like I just like learned some key phrases to be able to say. But no, I definitely do not know German very well. So what I loved though was that they introduced these 12 new teams with them being on a boat and like they're kind of going through some sort of I don't know what are they called?
It's like
Fluke,
a it's like
fluge,
a it's
fluge.
like a river, it's like
What
a
kind of boats are those?
oh, the boat? I have no idea. I just felt like it was something that I wanted to be on, and I was like, I'm usually not jealous of the things that they're experiencing. I mean, I understand they're all great, but like this, I was like, I want to do this. I'm like,
Yeah, it looked like fun. If you've been to Wonderland,
yes,
they have certain like a log ride that's like that where you
it
go
goes
down, you get
into the
water.
water splashes. Yeah, once you, yeah, exactly. It reminded me of
So
that Wonderland ride for sure.
I love that. I'm like, take them on a ride, like get them wet in the beginning. I definitely enjoyed starting to get to know some of these teams. So, how do you think we should go through it? I kind of wrote down all the teams, and as we got to know them, and then I started kind of talking about the episode. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, we can do both at the same time. Like, I don't know. Let's see what we can go through the teams. We can go through the episode. However you want to do it. I'm
Yeah,
open to it because there's so much that was happening and going on, and it's a lot to remember. I always take like a couple episodes to really kind of know who these contestants are. So, I'll be struggling a bit with their names as well.
for sure. Well, we'll just start with the episode. We do get to meet a couple of teams. Team Croqueta was Luis and Michelle, and so they're super cute. And obviously, my scroll is not working. That's great, isn't it? Hold on, let's see if I can find a better site. I think you jinxed me because now my site is not actually allowing me to scroll, even though you were talking about scrolling before.
Same.
Let's find a better one. Maybe TV Insider will have a good one.
Yeah. So, hold on. I'm like on my phone using this to reference these people, and I'm scrolling. I'm still scrolling.
Team Croqueta, where are you? Not you two. You two. Okay. Let's get this showing. I should have thought this through. I'm sorry, guys, but thanks for your patience. First time for the season. Oh, pop-ups are going to make me angry, though. How do I get rid of that? Anyways, that's Team Croqueta. So Luis and Michelle, I think that they're really cute. We do kind of get introduced them right off the bat, and then, okay, thank you. I believe it's them that turn around and actually say that they knew Derek and Claire. Am I right?
They knew of Derek and Claire.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
one team, I thought it was them, that turned around and be like, you guys are like Big Brother or something like that. And
Oh, yeah,
somebody
maybe.
did.
Yeah, maybe.
So we do get a little mini package of Derek and Claire, who we all know and love. We have Jelly Donut having them as her profile picture here. I'm happy to see them racing together. Derek is just making the rounds this year. He's been on obviously Big Brother last season. Then he just recently did the Challenge USA, and now he's doing the Amazing Race. What show does he have left? Just Survivor, I guess, for the CBS. I guess we're not saying trifecta anymore. Quadrilletta.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to see him on Survivor though. I kind of more like the kind of Amazing Race vibe for him. He's kind of uplifting, and I don't know. I just feel like there's less. I don't want to see him necessarily like playing that
That's weird.
scheming game. I just want to see him competing in a different way. So I like the Amazing Race for him.
I do too. Oh my god, is there no X to get rid of these ads? So yeah, I definitely like him on this show. They talk about him being the brains, or her being the brains and him being the muscle. And he's a little bit self-deprecating and saying like, "Oh, I worry for me being the muscles of this team." But I'm excited to see how well they do. We do know that Claire is a super fan, and so like, she knows a lot about these games and these shows. So I think that she's going to be a really strong asset to this team. And so I'm excited to see how well they do. And I was happy to see that they were going to be part of the season.
Yeah, I feel like whenever they cast from pre-existing shows, couples or whatnot, they usually tend to be stronger ones because you're not going to you already know how these people play and whatnot. You know what you're going to get, I feel like, and so you're not going to pick a couple that necessarily is going to flop, whereas you might have some contestants who have a great story but they might not do so great at the race, but you don't really know because you haven't seen them, you don't know who they are. So I feel like a lot of the pre-existing teams that they get from like Big Brother or something like that are usually do very well, for the most part.
Was the last couple from Big Brother that we saw race, was it Jessica and Cody?
Yeah, because there was Janelle and Brittany, Jessica and Cody. Why am I? Yeah, Jessica and Cody. Who was the last ones? I don't know. The order in my head's never great, but
No worries. Oh my gosh, these ads, why can't we get rid of them? I've been trying to find like a new ad removal details. This ad used too many resources for your device, so Chrome removed it. Thank you. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, like Jessica and Cody were a great example of a team that was on Big Brother that they're like, oh, there's something happening between these two. They'd be a good choice to go and play the Amazing Race. And look at that, they did go out and end up winning their season. Spoiler alert, sorry guys, but this was years ago. So yeah, I can't think of any other team unless I'm completely off base here. So I have high hopes for Claire and Derek for this season. What do you think of Tim and Rex? So if I can see if I can find them without
give me occupations.
Tim and Rex. So Tim is head coach and
Okay. Yeah. So my least favorite team.
Really?
Well, I don't do sports, so this was like, I just they're probably who I'm going to connect with the least. They're fine, but he had mentioned that he lost like 50 pounds for this race. Love that for many reasons, because I think you want to make sure that you're healthy. So it's good motivation to have that. I don't dislike them, but I'm just saying I like so many teams for different reasons. This is more of like, do I see them going in the first 3 episodes? Yes. Do I see them kind of bringing me any personal entertainment? No. So probably my personal least favorite team, but I understand why they're there. I think this brings in
Different
a big
audience for sure.
audience. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And so I get it. But for me, it's like I was kind of hoping that they were going to um go this episode was my kind of thing, or soon, if not this episode. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think that this team is going to go that far. I do find the head coach guy. I'm not sure which is which. They're hashtag team T Rex. So
the head
Tim and
coach
Rex,
is the white shirt. Yeah.
but I don't know his name.
Oh, which name? Oh, I don't know either.
That's I know who the head coach is. I don't know whose
Heck
name
if
is
I
for who.
know. Heck if I
Um,
know.
I guess they would put the person's name underneath, I'd imagine, right?
Rex is the
Of course he's gonna have the Rex shirt on.
yeah,
Okay, so Rex is the head coach guy.
yeah.
I do find him to be very classically American head coach guy. Like he's so cliche to me. I find that to be amusing that he's kind of a caricature.
Right. And my head goes to his teeth, and I just booked a dentist appointment because of it.
You
Like,
did
seriously,
not
today. I
book
did
a
today.
dentist
I did
appointment.
today for next Monday. I was like, what can I get done to my teeth? I, that's where I go.
I did notice his teeth right away. I agree that they are very pronounced.
They're
But I did
very
not book
veneery.
a
Yes, they're very veneers. I was like,
very American.
yeah, yeah.
That American veneer is a thing, I think. It's like they all have the same dentist. Joseph says you can tell that they're still processing as if COVID is still a thing. Really? It didn't seem like it to me. Like I mean, I
Yeah,
was
like
really engaged. Say
me
again?
too. Like, so what element other than like where they were and it was all outdoor activities, still it
And there's
didn't feel
small
like
audiences for some of the
yeah,
things,
yeah.
but it was still pretty good. It's like Raft meets Roller Coaster meets Riverslide. Yes, so good. Loved it. That was a fun way to meet Phil. Yes, it was. Hi, Lena. Wonderland. Are you from Toronto or have you just been to Wonderland? I didn't go to Wonderland all summer, but maybe I'll go to a Halloween haunt. Want to go, Jonathan?
I've supposed to go to a Halloween haunt for many years, my whole life, and I've never been. I used to know, fun fact, the person who is kind of behind a lot of creating that is now on a kids show, and she has won at least one Emmy. So they really have quality people there who do these things. Yeah.
Um, Sorry, I'm just gonna get this queued up again with the new thing, hopefully
And I
without.
don't, we're probably not there yet, but can we just talk about that? The fact that there's no non-elimination leg.
I mean, we're getting there, but yeah, we could be there right now. I am obsessed. I
I
was
was like,
like,
ooh,
sorry, if you suck, you suck. Be good all the time. Ha ha ha. Yes. Nothing to fall back on. Now, I do feel that they might put in an element where there's like a twist and being like, if you get this, that means that, like, kind of like an express pass, or like there might be a save or something like that, or get out of jail free type thing.
right, right.
I
I
feel
was
like they,
waiting for, yeah, I was waiting for them to release that, or I mean, or in a harder round or a quick round or something where they would normally have a non-elimination leg, even though they say they're random. I maybe it's still racing. You know what I mean?
yes.
So sort of a
I
reprieve. Yeah,
still racing, I think, is them getting around or not being an elimination. Like, it's been like it's a double episode as opposed to, like, and then at the end of the double episode someone does go home,
but
kind of thing.
I still love it because honestly, more often than not, there's a team that I want to go home, that I want to go home, and like they do super well, and this is their one. They have like one bad round, and I'm sorry, but you should go home. Like it's so sometimes it also saves some of my favorite teams. So look, what am I saying? But I don't know. I just like it. Seems very cutthroat, and I just love it. Try it
Yeah,
out. If it,
I love it. And because one of my biggest, gripes about the Amazing Race Australia is that, like, they're always adding new teams and nobody goes home. Like, literally, we still have like 10 teams left. No, I think it's 7 teams right now. But we started. They did 2 teams of 10, so we start off with 20 teams, Jonathan.
well,
And then there was still non-elimination legs. So we're like, there should never be a non-elimination leg if we're starting with 20 teams. Like, episode 1 was 10 teams. Episode 2 was 10 new teams that we had to learn. Episode 3 was those like teams of 10 like meeting each other and then racing together at the same time.
yeah.
So, like, riding out to like number 18, like on the mat, like, oh my god. Anyways, we dwindled down and they had a lot of COVID things happen too, but
It's like Canada's
whew,
version, which,
right.
spoiler alert, skip 20 seconds. But I just can't get over the fact that a team can be eliminated, essentially, come back and win the show. I'm not thrilled by that at all.
I agree. The one good thing about it, though, is that before they were eliminated, at least they had won that leg. So it wouldn't, like, before they had to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
assemble it.
yeah. I don't think that if they were able to stay, they would have been eliminated on normal means. But I mean, yeah, I do. That is one thing, and I liked them just fine. I just don't love how that whole season went. So we'll forget it and just focus on this one.
Speaking of which, if you wanted to see my coverage of, I did the Q&A for the live finale party. So I'm actually going to package up the footage of Jojo and I doing the questions for some of the contestants that live in Toronto and the winners. Anyways, okay, so what happened next? Okay, so we learned that the first time they're starting out of the outside of the US, that there were going to be a scramble. So a scramble rather than doing things in the same order. So with the scramble, you still are going to do all the different elements that you normally would have to do, but you could do them in any order that you choose. And you end up gaining like some puzzle pieces that are going to let you know where the pit stop is. So what did you think about this before you saw how it played out? What do you think of the scramble as opposed to just going directly to a detour,
Yeah,
directly to a
yeah.
roadblock, whatever,
Well,
or
like,
a route info?
do I want this happening every round? No. But do I love it for a round, especially like the first round? Yes. I kind of like having it felt like I've participated in something like this before, on a school trip, or I there's this thing called City Chase, which is a charity event that it felt like something like that. And so I really really like the scramble, and it's strategic too, because you have to do you find out where all your places are first? Do you go to the farthest because there'll be less people there, and just kind
But
of do
what's
your own
considered the
magic?
farthest because you don't know where
Or
the pit stop is,
you don't
right?
know where but I guess farthest from where you're starting, just to, like, because most people probably go to the closest. Or do you, like, look at the highways and go like, hey, this is the best route? Like, it truly is like something that you can map out and just run to and figure out and drive to. And do you want to avoid the inner city? Because if you look at that map, if you freeze frame it, there is like a major highway that kind of runs around it that I feel like you could have gone, roll saw. I don't know where they were again, but roll saw, whatever. And so I thought there was a lot of opportunity there for anything to happen. And I like that people don't know how they're doing.
Yeah. Panic.
Yeah.
It makes everybody rush a little bit more. And that's one thing that in any of these competitive shows, if I don't see a little bit of hustle, I'm like, yeah, okay, hopefully you're going home, because I want to see people trying really hard to stay in the game. And sometimes if people believe that they're in last place, they kind of slow down a little bit. They don't know if they think that they're going to be out, so they just don't try as hard necessarily. Some people, it obviously the opposite happens and they try to hustle harder. But this, like, you don't know if the person that you're working with is on their second task or their third task
Yeah.
or first. And
So you
so
can't shut down and give up because you might be in first. Like, you never know.
exactly. And I did feel it everybody, maybe that's what the energy was that we got out of the scramble, was everybody was hustling for the most part. Everybody was trying to, like, panicked, like, okay, like, we gotta get this, we gotta go. Like I felt that energy, the frantic
Yeah.
energy, and that's what I really enjoy about the Amazing Race in general.
And watching it, I was like, you know what? If they did this as the opening for every season going forward, I would be very happy with that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
New city, but they and
new
that's how they
city.
kind of get around it being a new city, is that you could easily, not easily, but you could get the address and directions, like you have that all in front of you, so you have an idea where you're going, which I think is helpful for being in a completely new environment, but starting off the race still having that frantic energy. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was hard to track how well people were doing. I know that they had a little markers of, like, which tasks are checked off that each team has done, but I couldn't really map it out. So I kind of just was enjoying everybody running around.
Yeah.
So you did mention two of the three kind of checkpoints that they're going to have to go to. So they had to go to roll, saw, and smash. So for roll, what they had to roll a beer keg through an obstacles course of bales of hay. In saw, they literally had to saw off a piece of a log. And for smash, they had to smash an enormous ice cube to get a puzzle piece or one of their directional pieces out of the ice. What do you think of these three tasks in general?
Yeah. So not disappointed overall. I think the Smash, the ice one, was probably my least favorite. I just thought that was where's the issue there. Yes, they had like a bunch of different tools. Yes, you saw someone like Derek kind of use the right one at the right way, and other people misusing them, but they didn't really focus on it. And I don't think it ate up a lot of time. So, and is like ice blocks like specific to Germany in any way? Like, did you have to do it, or could you have done something else as well? But obstacle course, always love the timing, 55 seconds for and yeah, I mean, and it really kind of showed. Some people were like, you had those moments where some people were actually giving up when they thought they weren't making time, and the other people really pushed forward and didn't even look at the clock. We saw one of the teams mention that the cheerleader dancers,
Yes.
whatever.
Oh, and let's
Yeah.
find them since you're mentioning them. Let's pull them up. Show me, where are you?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
momentum.
they were saying that, you just don't look at the clock, you just keep going, 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 and that's what I thought, like, absolutely, and you see it pay off for many teams, in fact, when they're making it there with just a second left. So, I thought that was really great and I also enjoyed, the sawing because apparently people don't know how to saw.
Yeah, I mean, they made it look a lot harder than I've never saw it before, so I don't know how well I would do, but they made it look a lot more challenging than I would give it credit for. So, yeah, for me, I thought that all the tasks were pretty easy. But they still provided a lot of drama for me. I've been watching a lot of Amazing Race lately, and so I feel like I don't know what the difference was, but even though these tasks were relatively simple or basic, I was really engaged. I was really on my edge of my seat, and it could be maybe the element of scramble being in there, like nobody knows where they are, and they're rolling this barrel like frantically, and they're sawing frantically. Maybe that's what elevated it for me, but I still thought that all three tasks were very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, well, the song brought comedy because, like, there was the one team where it was the one of the teams we've already talked about, one of the first teams I think we talked about, where the girl was, like, yanked, like, halfway across the like, the saw just because the guy was, like, pulling back, and, I just a lot of people who figured it out that, like, the slow kind of, movements,
Small movements, like
it's quicker, yeah, so it was really good to kinda see a lot of that. And like I said, loved it, loved all three. I love that they were, you know, really kind of just rushing as best. And people struggled. People struggled on, again, I don't really think the ice, but people struggled on the other two. And I knew watching it as well that although people are struggling, and when they were emphasizing, particular teams struggling, it would be like, oh, this is their fourth attempt, but it's 55 seconds. So is a fourth attempt, the difference of 5-6 minutes, actually, like, how much does it take to reset? Probably not that long. So I knew it was going to be really tight at the end, which I also liked. I was like, this is going to be close. Like, you're going to have, I guess we'll find out next episode, like the first team and then the last team, probably like really only,
please show us the times.
you better show us those times, but only like half an hour, I would say, between them all or something, because I feel like it's close. And we saw a lot of, not to get ahead, but we did see a lot of teams at the end come at the exact same time. But I knew it was going to happen when the struggling teams really were only playing with like 6-7 minutes maybe at most of a difference. Yeah.
So Joseph doesn't buy that there'll be no non-elimination legs, but I can see a case where there'll be one or two legs will be 2 episodes. Yeah. I think they might also change the wording. Like they might say go meet Phil at the mat, but not the pit stop. You know what I mean? And like so they think it's the pit stop, but it'll actually just be at the mat, or go find Phil at the da 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 da. And so yeah, I think that they will not say pit stop, and they won't say last team will be eliminated, kind of thing. So we'll listen out for the wording of things. We'll be on our own amazing race to see how they set us up for a non-elimination leg without saying it's a non-elimination leg. Yeah, Jelly believes, he agrees with us too. Lena loves the scramble, and Lena apparently drove to Wonderland every summer. Yes, Wonderland.
Oh, it's like Germany or okay, Wonderland, yes.
Yes, and she loves the scramble because you have no idea how well you are doing, right? Which really amps up people's stress level. Which
Well,
I
Derek even said, like, we're either at worst eighth or maybe we're first, and they, like, it's true.
which is perfect. And that's kind of how you want to be. It's like, I don't want to be an eighth. Let me go make sure that I'm in first. Let me hustle a little bit harder. So we first like pretty much get introduced to the green team. So this is I believe it's Asta and Nina. Uh, and they are an engaged couple. I really liked them. I thought that they had great personalities. I thought that was going to be a really good strategy, that they were being really thorough in the beginning to make sure that they got specific directions to get to each of the locations. They ended up leaving in last place. So I got worried that they were taking a little bit too much time, but I was appreciating them being thorough, getting those directions beforehand before they get sent off into the streets of Germany, Munich.
Well, I mean, they said slow and steady wins the race. As they were going, it to me, again, skip ahead if you don't want to know spoilers, but we're going to talk about this anyway. But to me, it was very evident who was going home this episode. And it started with how it was edited in the beginning. So that's probably my one takeaway. Like, the one thing I didn't like was that I was like, oh, so and so is going home because of this edit. And I knew in the first 5 minutes. And I think if you look at the departing teams and seeing how they all depart, it really kind of shows. And I do think a lot of people had all those locations, but for some reason, this particular team was chatting it up a little extra, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And it's, unfortunately, it was a very fast round, I think, altogether from start to finish. and there wasn't much time to catch up. I mean, again, I don't think there was much time between first and last, to be honest with you. So I was concerned for them as well, leaving last. I was like, we're also getting a lot of their story, so I was like, uh-oh. Um, and I just, but my skin was itching, like seeing them there just talking to people.
Just like, go, just
I
go,
was
go,
like
go, 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 go,
like
go.
when you saw Claire sitting down later on at the ice at the Smash, and Derek was like doing
Is
something
hamming it
funny,
up?
and she was like, that would be me, by the way. Like,
I know.
you do not want to go on the Amazing Race with me. 'Cause I'd be like,
No, I do, because we'd
throw
win.
you in the car.
If we would win, like you would throw me in the car, you'd have superhuman strength,
I'd be
like
like,
we'd
not
be
messing around. I'm not messing
flipping
around.
cars, like you just become superhuman.
I was like, yeah, they were I liked them, but they were very, like, in the beginning they
Too
were
chill.
too chill. I was getting itchy. I like I wanted to go. I was like, get in the
That's
car.
that's what I felt about them as well. And looking back after the conclusion of this episode, I was like, okay, I definitely was feeling that they could be going home. But when at the time, I was like, they wouldn't be this obvious that this team that's taking this much time is going to be the team that went home. Like I was already talking myself out of that. Like
Mm.
I thought it was going to be like, oh, it's going to end up being the best strategy that they're going to be able to like get to all these locations quickly. I believe that Asta also felt that she had an idea where the pit stop was going to be, so she kind of rooted everything out accordingly. Do we know if that paid off or not? Ish, if she was
Um,
right.
which hold on, wasn't it? Was it this team or was it the twins who said that the no? It was the twins who said that they thought that the pit stop was going to be by the river.
But I feel like didn't she they say it as well, or am I completely
I
wrong?
don't know what they said. I'm pretty
Okay,
sure it was the twins who said the river thing, and I don't know where I wanted to like look it up, like Google Map it, but I haven't had a chance to yet because I was like, I wanted to compare exactly where Phil was on that map. I wish they told us.
I wish I was. I really want them to tell us because then I would know definitively which team
Yeah,
actually said that.
yeah,
But I believe you though if you said that and I'm wrong.
yeah. I just rewatched like the first 15 minutes before this, and it was
Okay,
the
so then I'll
twins.
believe you for
Pretty
sure.
sure. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Joseph says, "Yep, you can tell the panic was there, especially since they chose to start in Munich and be the first stop was in Munich anyways. You had no idea where Phil was. Yeah, exactly. So like you don't know any landmarks necessarily. You haven't really yeah, you have no idea where Phil could be. But he wasn't something that was pretty monumental, like it was a big a place. So yeah, let's did you guys maybe figure that out in the chat? Maybe you can see who was close to where they mapped it out if you have the time. If you have the time. So Marcus and Michael, military brothers, were first to get to roll. At least first to show us that role. Anyways, let me find them for y'all. Military brothers. So I thought when they said military brothers before I saw them, I was like they're brothers like from the military. Like
Yeah. Same.
they're not related
Related.
at all.
Well,
And
because
then I'm
they don't look similar to
oh
me.
no, when I saw them, I'm like, oh no, but they look exactly the same. I thought that their eyes were very, very similar. And I was like, they have the same
Do you think
eyes.
so?
I feel like they have the same
You know what?
eyes.
I guess it's because they're like their body, like one's like so much taller than the other one. I mean, I don't look like my siblings either, so but yeah, you're right. The eyes, I can see it maybe, but I don't know. I just like at first glance, I just thought they had different shaped heads. They had just like different body, different
Look at those
heights. Like,
eyes. Look at those eyes.
yeah,
I thought their
yeah,
eyes
yeah. I can
really
see.
similar.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'm looking at a picture in the craziness of the race and like the quick cuts and everything. It took me about halfway through the episode to realize that they were related. So, I mean, they did say that they only get to see each other once a year, I believe. So, I'm rooting for them. I want them to do well together. I mean, I'm rooting for lots of teams, but it's like I was like, oh, this is their thing that they can do together,
Oh,
and
don't make me
so
cry by saying things like that. That really always gets
yeah,
my heart.
I was like, they only see each other once a year, and I mean, I don't see my family very often, and I'm like, oh, this, and I know what that's like to, like as adults when you like grow old and grow apart from people, and then you get that opportunity to like do some adventure, and you don't know if that's going to happen again. So they're both active in military, right? So it's like, yeah,
Yes, Jelly Donut, thank you so much. So yeah, I still the same as you, is that like I didn't realize that they were brothers, and the moment that I realized they were brothers is when I saw both of their eyes. They were in the car and they're both
Okay.
like did some sort of mannerism eye thing at the end. I'm like, oh wait, oh they're not just military brothers, they're like brothers that are also part of the military. So yeah, we probably figured it out at the same time, and mine was because of the eyes, and yours was because you just figured it out. So they do fail at roll, so rolling those beer kegs on their first try, but they get it on their second try, and then they are out.
I was a little surprised though. I was fully expecting them to
Get on their
completely
first.
dominate. Yeah, and we saw some other teams do it who, you know, I was like, "Oh," and then I mean, he does make the comments. Oh, I don't know their names, but
Michael. Oh,
the taller one?
Michael is, I believe, Marcus is the taller,
Okay,
and
so
Michael is the shorter, I
Marcus
believe.
did make the comment that he's been sitting in a tank for the last several months. So like, and I'm like, okay, so good. I'm break those stereotypes in my head because I'm like, oh, military. You just assume that your cardio's up, your everything's up. But I'm like, there's many different jobs in the military, and
Mm.
his is like something that's sitting in a truck, sitting in that tank or whatever he was saying. And so I'm like, and I'm sure you didn't have a lot of time to prep for this because you're going from active duty right into this. So yeah, that's but muscle memory is going to be there. So I fully expect once the ball's rolling, you're
Oh
going to
yeah,
be
he's
yeah.
gonna.
Yeah.
I do think they're gonna be a dominant team. Like I
Yeah.
think you know he looks like he's tall, and so getting used to bending over and rolling a barrel, sometimes you have to be in like that perfect pocket of a size to be able to be good at something like that. So
Right.
I don't mind, and they didn't have any pressure of anybody around them. They couldn't see anybody else's techniques, so I can understand them failing their first time and then getting their second time. So I'll
And
give them
like
a pass.
and even again, not to skip ahead, but when there was like a very edited like struggle later about them getting to a location, I mean, they were still in a good position. They weren't like it wasn't a dire thing. I felt so. Yeah, I feel like physically they'll do quite well with a lot of these things. Yeah,
Agreed, agreed. So Dom and Rich, oh boy, seemingly are first at the saw. What are your thoughts about Dom and Rich?
which team is that again? I need the photos. Right. Are they motivational speakers? What are they?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you got it.
Um. So yeah, I'm a little worried. I like them, and uh I was just like, I don't know. There's just something that seems he's the one who gave up when they weren't doing the barrels and they kind of like he was just coming over the little hill or whatever they're doing, and it was clear that he like screwed up and it was like veering off or something, and he kind of just gave up rather than like, and they still had like 6 seconds or something. So that is such an indicator for me for other things that can come up. And yeah, and she was when it was finally done, the barrel part, dropped to her knees and was like super grateful. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I felt that instead of like celebrating the small accomplishments, they just need to like get going. Like just do it. Like you know what I mean? I was like, I understand that was trying for you in that moment. But
Mhm.
like you're on the first leg, it's not like you've done several, you're not mentally exhausted yet. Like just go. Like you need to like hustle. So I needed to see a little hustle out of them that I wasn't seeing, and don't give up. So
Yes,
I'm a
absolutely. And
little worried.
I think that they have a great perspective, and like I love that they're motivational speakers. I love that we never see this kind of coupling. I don't think we've ever seen a black woman and an Asian man as a couple on a reality TV show. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
Yeah, I
So
can't think of one
I
either.
I love seeing that representation 100%. Um but I agree with you. I do worry for them. It seems to me that he allows her to kind of be a little bit all over the place, a little bit frantic, and he's supposed to kind of be like the calming side. Like he lets her shine, he's the calming side, but it also seems like he doesn't necessarily step up. And so I'm curious if she's always going to have to be the one that's kind of motivating him a little bit, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, so I worry for them, their dynamic, but I like them a lot, and I'm very happy to see this duo on the screen.
Yeah, I like them. I like, what they're representing. It'll be interesting to see how their professional jobs kind of influence how they do on the race. And that little comment that we saw where that woman was like, "I love your hair." I was like, I freaking love her hair too. Like that, the
Pretty cool. I
colors of
don't.
it. Like,
I mean, apparently CBS is only casting people that have a rainbow hair this season, but
and with Survivor, you're referencing, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, I'm eating that up because I love it, love it.
I love it. I don't even know where I would get that done. I don't even know how I'd get that done. It's pretty impressive. Not going to lie.
Yeah.
So Jelly Donut says literally every task is like 2 miles from each other. Okay, so a kilometer. That's not far actually at all. So they just could have told them to run this leg on foot,
Yeah.
no pun intended. Hmm. Yeah, it's like a kilometer is like what? How long does it take? Like a minute, doesn't it? Or is it 10
I mean,
minutes? How
I
long does it take to
run.
run a kilometer? Walk a
I
kilometer?
okay. So I worked out already today. How many? I did like 8 or 9 on my bike in like 20 minutes. No, I worked maybe 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah, so it would take what, 10 minutes to walk a kilometer, probably. That's like a major intersection here.
It's listen, they're right. It's not far, and they probably could have all done it on foot. But I mean, that's why it was like so quick. It felt quick. It felt like they were all
Hmm.
close, and and then there were people who were seemingly lost. But that's the trick, is that I think people were going in the city, and I think that's a mistake. I think like going around and in a start one end or start the other, but literally go around in a circle rather
Hmm.
than going directly through where there's likely traffic amongst other things, and you can get
Hmm.
really. I'm a good
Confusing.
driver, and I don't know about those roads were giving me anxiety. I was like, I don't wanna drive in, so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely would be challenging. So Jelly Donut also says mapping out the route that Derek and Claire took, they literally drove 10 miles. Okay, low key taking points off this episode. No. No, no, no. It was great. No, it was perfect that they did that because I don't think they wanted everybody to be close together. They wanted everybody to be like on top of each other. They wanted
Yeah,
the stakes to be high. They wanted to know that like everybody's neck and neck, but the last team is going to be eliminated. Like I think that's why they kept it close,
yeah,
because as soon as you make it too far away, it makes it really obvious when somebody gets lost that they're going to be the team that goes home.
yeah, and if they don't, they're gonna go home next time. So, this really doesn't necessarily show you who the weaker teams are, because I feel like, it kept it we had a good episode, and it kept it all in suspense for like maybe next time where we have a different type of episode that takes half a day or something like that. You'll see some of those teams falling to the back, perhaps, that which kind of gives it away, because generally speaking, more or less they kind of stay in the back. You might have like some of the leading teams, I feel like, have like bad days sometimes, but generally speaking, people kind of stick ish to where they are. So yeah.
So Lena is saying that I like them, but I felt that they were trying to promote their brand as well as motivators. I'm wondering if it's because they won't do that well, and so this might be a precursor to maybe next episode, so they don't have to be super obvious with telling their story if they're the team that goes home. So I personally don't know if this team is going to do super well, Rich and Dom, but I do like them. And I feel like they're gone next episode, though, personally.
I'm worried for them as well, yeah.
So I wrote down, yes, Claire and Derek get roles. So I don't know if they did it once or twice, but
I think it was
they
one time, yeah, they did it right on the first time,
which I was
I
like
think.
happy about because Claire is super tall and I believe Derek is a decent height. And so bending over, like this is just awkward for a tall
Yeah,
person, I would
yeah,
say.
because I think they were up against were they up against the girls? They were up against another team who, like, mentioned, I feel like, that they're like, "Oh, they came and did it and left," so, yeah.
Then they explained that chill was a roadblock. So it was who wants to chill. So if me and you are on this race, which one would be doing this task? Who wants to chill? I think you need to chill.
Um,
Yeah,
I
you
would
probably
like
need to chill.
smashing, or I would like doing I could do any of them really, like, I was I wanted to do all of the challenges, so sure, I'll take it.
But
I
you
mean,
would have been Michelleing.
I'm worried about challenges that I wouldn't be able to do, like with the heights or other things. So if it seems like it's a safer kind of like I didn't think no one's bungee jumping, I'd be like, let me do this one, so I could I could do ones that are easier.
Right. I mean, oh, wait, you wouldn't bungee jump or you would?
I'm not bungee jumping. Google it. Google it. There's injuries. I'm not bungee jumping, and I'm not jumping out of a plane either. So we're quitting.
I would jump out the plane, Jonathan, for us.
Jumping out of a plane.
I would do it for us. I would do it for us, Jonathan. $1 million.
Okay, you could do that then. I mean, but I would literally have a word with the producers ahead of time. I'm like, if there's bungee jumping or if there's skydiving and both team members do not cast me because I'm not going to do it.
Well, yeah. What if it's like tandem? We did it together, holding hands.
No, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Someone just died in Toronto the other week from skydiving. Just FYI.
Oh, died?
Died. That
I
girl.
heard it was. I thought it was somewhere else. I thought it was like a miss.
No.
A miss. No, I thought it was Miss Canada somewhere else or something.
No,
Was that?
here, like GTA. Here, yeah, died. And look up bungee jumping injuries. Just Google it. Feel free. You're welcome.
I would never do that. That's so cruel. But I would be very upset. That would be like Enzo Desi level of upset, I think.
Oh, I can't talk about Enzo and Desi.
Joseph wonders the same thing if they won't last 3 legs, so they had to get their brands out too. Yeah, I don't think they're going to last long. That's why we know a lot about them, in my opinion. So Molly and Emily leave Smash first. So that is, I would say, the team that I am so compelled by their story. I'm sure that you're already thinking of how to make this into a TV movie. What do you think about Molly and Emily's story?
So don't know anybody's names yet. So are we talking about the twins?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I was like, who's yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I love how they were telling it as well. First of all, they said they were identical. I don't know about that. But
But this could go to show you what happens with nature, right? Like, or nurture, I mean. So, like, growing up in different
different
place,
environment,
having
yeah.
different food,
Yeah.
having different life choices, like, it actually changes what you look like.
Well, like how it was told too, like, yeah, we're, identical twins whom we just met last year. Is, after my daughter took a, like a 23andMe or something. So yeah, I mean, wild. So I want to know more though. I feel like we didn't hear the story,
Which means that's good.
Which means they're sticking around for a while. Yeah.
I feel like right now, like they're one of the teams I feel like is going to go the distance because, like, how good is the story? I just got goosebumps of them like learning about each other, and then their twindom like comes together, and they become just so connected and bonded, and end up being exceptionally good at this race.
Like, I know, and I want to know, like, were they aware of each other? I know they both grew up like Jewish and separate families. Or did they find out at some point, but just didn't look into it? Like, I want to. I want to sit them down, and I have questions. But I feel like they're going to let us know as it goes on. Which, again, like we said, I feel like they do well. And I would have been devastated if they go early or right away, because I'm like, again, this is like one of those
This is the
things
best story they've ever had on The Amazing Race, I think.
where I'm like, I'm like, no. This is like, no, they can't go right now. So yeah. And I feel like they don't. So I'm hopeful for them. And I wonder if they will develop that kind of twin, telepathy or amongst other things, or that they were referencing in this episode that they don't really have. So
but they probably, I think that they're gonna figure it out, like they're gonna understand it or learn it or like just sync up. Like I feel like
it's like see an episode where they both say the same thing at the same time in like an interview, like a little anyway.
It's happening. Like that's just their vibe and their energy. So fun. Hi, Kathy. Thank you for being here. Yes, we love their story as well. I can't wait. I mean, it's so good. And them winning the season, like, would be such a good story.
And how did you find these people? Like, I want to know everything about it.
So good. So good. So Kathy said they used to work for a set of identical twins and they were not exactly the same. There were slight differences. Plus, they were mirror twins. So one was right-handed and the other was left-handed, etc.
Mm,
Yes. So there are different types of twins.
yeah.
I don't think that they're mirror twins, to be honest. Um,
Yeah, they just look I mean, they look I mean, I went to school with, 2 sets of identical twins who looked exact like, I look for 15 years I went to school with them, and still can't tell them apart. So it's like I'm a little used to that more so than, like, identical twins who look a little different, yeah.
Well, like everybody already knows, but like I know a lot of twins. Like, so my grandmother was, or great grandmother is an identical twin, and then like, well, I didn't know these people, but on my mom's dad's side, they had 4 sets of identical boy twins. And then like
Mm.
obviously my sister had identical twins last year.
Oh my
My
gosh, I have
brother has
twins in
fraternal
my
twins.
yeah, I have twins in my family as well. Yeah, that's awesome.
Tons. Like, it's just, I mean, I expect to have twins, or it's probably gonna be triplets, just because I would want to one up everybody and be like, "Ha ha! You got twins, I got triplets." Like
But
that.
and from a casting director's perspective, in my head and as a viewer, I actually like how they look different because once I learn people's names, I would be able to tell the difference, and I'm not like, "Wait, who? Which one are" like, you know what I mean? Which at a quick glance, when people are running and doing tasks, it's hard to tell, and I have struggled with that with we've had twins in the past. So, um, yeah, I actually like the fact that there's slight differences that you can pick up on. So when they are doing things, I won't have to be told who's doing it. I will, know visually. So it's kind of like perfect for me. Yeah.
So interesting. And I think also by the way that they do their makeup. So Molly's on the right and she does her makeup a little bit different than Emily does. And then even the shaping of the eyebrows. I think that those two things is what makes it so different. But if you look at the rest of their lower face, it's pretty much the same. But I think it's just the makeup and the eyebrows and the hairstyle and just maybe a little bit of height. And I think that Molly might be weigh a little bit more, a little bit heavier.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they just really don't look similar to me, but maybe that's just me.
But if you take out, if it's the
I like it.
eyebrows and the
I'm fine with it.
eyeshadow, I swear it's
Yeah.
cool though. I mean, I'm happy that they're such a good casting choice. Definitely a check mark for CBS on this one.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. What else happened here? So I went, oh boy, Rich and Dom having trouble at the saw. I'm like, uh oh. And then I said Quentin falls at roll. Okay, this is the point that you said before. So Quentin and his bestie, the cheerleaders. Where is that picture of them again? Um, I really like this pair as well. We didn't really see that much of them, but I feel like they're going to be strong, and I'm going to enjoy getting to know them. So,
I have a favorite pair, which we haven't gotten to yet, and I can't wait until we get to.
ooh, so yeah, Quentin and Maddie, and so that was where he said he falls at the role, but he was talking about how he's played a lot of sports. He never focuses on what the time says. He just does it until he hears the
Yeah, you
buzzer.
don't watch the clock.
Don't watch the clock. And I love that because we saw that he stumbled, but he picked himself up and just kept on pushing through. And he still managed to get it when a lot of other people
Yeah.
would take that stumble as like, oh, I'm not going to get it now. And they would stop and make that a self-fulfilling prophecy. So
The
love.
the other thing about this couple or this partnership is that she was his captain, right? Or cheer captain or something. So it's dance cap like whatever they do. He had mentioned that. So I was like, "Oh, that's good. He knows how to fall in line then in that relationship."
Are
If
you
if
sure it's
some-
not the Latin dancers?
No, it's these two.
I thought it was the Latin dancers that she was his she was
No,
I
because these two were cheerleaders, and she was like the cheer captain or something like that. And so, yeah,
maybe
and
it's
so
both of them because I just remember. Hold on, I'll show you the other couple.
that dance couple, I don't know their story. They're kind of one of my weaker couples for me. I found them a little bit more on the blander side for me. But this I was like, oh, I thought that dynamic was really because I when I was watching, I was like, oh, that dynamic's really good because sometimes you have that power struggle, and so when you have someone who is, people have worked together and someone's in like maybe a manager spot or a supervisor spot or something along those lines, that can those dynamics being already established can and even like in a brother relationship or brother sister relationship, the older one might take charge, like similar things like that. I like those pre-established defined relationships, and power status. She is his chick. Yeah, that's what I was
But
saying.
okay, but to my credit, it's a similar dynamic with these two. Whereas so it says that he took her dance classes.
Right.
So the two met when David took one of Aubrey's dance classes years ago, and it was love at first sight.
Oh
So
yeah, I think I remember him saying like he was the new something or
yeah, like
whatever. Yeah.
he is the apprentice and she was the
Right, right,
teacher or
right, right.
something. I can't remember. But sorry, go ahead. Go on.
Yeah. No, yeah. So I mean yeah, so this couple I was like, I don't know. But yeah, so I mean I just like that. Not that there's been a dominant for it, but I'm saying if there has to be, they're used to that kind of take orders, I'll take a step back, whatever, right? So
Hmm.
I want to can't wait to see that play out as well. So
Definitely
I
want
think
to
it
see their
works for them.
dynamic.
Yeah.
I definitely can see that working when you already know your kind of roles. But sometimes where it can go to a disadvantage is when the person that's in like the more submissive role doesn't want to tell the other person like, I don't think that that's right, or I think it's wrong, or I think we should do this. So sometimes asserting authority might not come as naturally when the submissive person sees maybe a fault in the other person's plan. But as like you said, it'll be interesting to see how the
Yeah.
dynamic plays out for sure. um and then I wrote down another thing that you mentioned, Derek hamming it up at Chill. I was like, why are you hammering it up at Chill? Like, are you kidding me,
I
Derek?
I will give him credit. That felt like three hammers and it was done. Like it felt like it cracked and it went right in there. And I was like, okay, I mean, you use the right tools, but Claire's gonna murder you. So like,
Oh, Kathy says, off topic, Jonathan. I just gotta say you've done casting on some of my favorite shows. Warehouse 13 is still one of my all-time faves.
oh my
The Expanse
gosh.
was amazing. Kathy, do you know that my best friend was cast by Jonathan on The Expanse and she plays Monica? Just so you know. And I did do a small little part on an episode on season 6. Thanks, Jonathan. It was amazing. And what's that? What's STSNW? What's
It's
that? Oh,
Star Trek
Star
Strange New
Trek
Worlds.
Strange New Worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge Trekkie.
Wow. I mean, you're Googling me, but also, I feel violated. No, feel free. But what a throwback. Warehouse 13. Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, everyone's super nice on that show. If you want behind the scenes stuff, really liked all of them, and so talented as well. Um, I've had, I think all of them at some point afterwards audition for me or with me, and I was blown away by how much talent that a silly light show actually had behind it. So yeah, they're really fun. And I love Strange New Worlds as well. So
Well, and then you can also fangirl a little bit, Kathy, because when I was about to mention with my best friend, her boyfriend slash fiance is an identical twin, and I can tell him and his brother apart pretty easily. And so, and whenever I talk about working at my best friend's new restaurant, I'm talking about Monica from The Expanse. So I'll show you a picture of us if I can find one right now. Let's see if I can find a picture of me and Anna since we're fangirling for a second. Here, okay, this is a film fest pic from a couple years ago
wait,
when we were still having fun and partying. Hold on, let's do this and then do this. I don't know if you've seen this picture even, Jonathan.
you'll recognize her from The Expanse if you watch The Expanse though.
Me?
No, not you.
Oh,
Me
Monica.
more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if viewers who watch The Expanse
Oh, yeah,
will
yeah.
recognize her from The Expanse. She's had a
Um,
multi-season. Maybe not in that photo. Maybe you can.
okay, that was just the first photo that I saw of us. Hold on.
Sydney as well.
And Sydney. Well, they won't know Sydney. Well, they might actually from Supernatural if they
Oh,
watch Supernatural. That's probably the other.
Supernatural, or I mean, she's also
I mean, she's been on a gazillion
lead of
things.
a series. Yeah. So
Hold on, let's see if I can find another one that you can see. You can kind of see Anna here. Same group again. All actors. Um, Here's us again. That was recently, and well, that's yeah, they're all recently. And then this was us. Hold on, just kidding. That was us 10 in 2011. So that was Anna when she was like, I don't know, I think it was her 19th birthday. So that was a long time ago. So, anyways, there's some fangirling, fun stuff. But yeah, we were back together for the first time in I think it was 13 years, we'd said. And so we took a picture, all of us together, which I thought was cute. Cute. Anyways, back to the Amazing Race. So now, after Derek does his hamming it up at the chill, they go to the pit stop, which is Friedenschnadel. Angel of Peace, I could say. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And so they are kind of excited. They are going to, as you mentioned, they didn't know if they're in first place or if they're in eighth place, but like they could be in first. So they're really excited. And I'm really excited for them because obviously team that we know and we love and we want to see them do well are doing well on their first leg. So usually the first leg is kind of indicative of how you're going to run the race. And so this tells me that they're most likely going to be in the front of the pack for the,
in it
for
for the
race.
long haul, I think, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
exactly.
good indicator. Yeah.
Exactly. And so then honestly, I just started writing in the people that came into the checkpoint, like the pit stop, because I couldn't tell who was going at rock and roll, and it was just a little bit too all over the place. But what happened maybe that you notice, because there's some people that you are your favorites that we haven't talked about yet. So what other things happened?
So my other, I mean, and this is just in like interviews. I don't even feel like this was necessarily it's the what's their names? It's the tall short.
Okay. I've had it on them, and I was like, I know it's going to be
the 6'2", the 5'7". I will be remiss if I do not quote what he had said, where he's like, "We met at church." He's like, "I was looking right at her. She was looking right over my head." I was like, he's funny. He had a couple one-liners there, and we didn't even like focus on them at all. I feel like this episode. So I pray that they do well because they are so funny and so fun, and you can just see that relationship there. And it's like, again, and it's a very different, like you often don't, I mean, 5'7" and 6'2". Like I know people, I know tall women, I know short guys, and they don't often date, separately to their height and stuff. So I love this story, and I love both of their personalities, and they were so funny, and it was like not focusing on it. I was upset. I was like, I hope this means we see a lot more of them.
I think we'll see a lot more of them,
and we get a lot more of that the commentary
banter
there, because it's like so good, and they're really, and they just seem like they have the best relationship too with each other. So
totally agree. I was waiting for you to tell me who it was, and I had it on them. I knew you were gonna love those two.
Yes.
And I think that they're going to be a team that will do well because he knows about his height, and like he knows his limitations, and same for her. She knows about her height, and she knows what she can and cannot do. And so it seems like they already know how to work within their own bodies and then within their bodies together. I just think that they're going to be able to just run this race really well because they're just so comfortable with each other.
And that's what it is, because can you imagine like if he had some holdups about that, and there could be fights, there could be moments where they're just not progressing because he insists on doing something, or vice versa, or like they have the best attitude about it, and they're so open and self-aware, and just so much fun, that I think that their relationship alone will carry them through a lot of these challenges. So
and if they ever go home, it will be like the most heartbreaking episode.
There's several good teams that I'll be heartbroken when they leave, because they have to leave and they all can't make the end. So
no, they cannot.
So good.
So let's just go through the rest of the teams by going through the pit stop, because we talked about the challenges. They don't really
Yeah.
matter like that much,
This was more about the frantic kind of scramble and stuff, and yeah, it's we've talked about the job.
Ooh, Joseph says if they go home, it's because of a U-turn. Yeah, I could see it would be something like that. People know that they're strong and they work really well together, and somebody competitive like decides to U-turn them if they can get in front of them. So I don't know, who knows about that.
Yeah, true.
So in first place, getting to the pit stop is Team Big Brother. They do it. They managed to get there, get to see Phil on the pit stop in first place, both receiving $2,500. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's you wanted them to do well going in knowing that they've been dating for 8 months, 10 months, something like that they were saying. And, and we like them from Big Brother. And so it's glad, I'm glad to see that they didn't disappoint in what they're doing and kind of that fun. And I like that she's going to I feel like crack the whip a little bit and just keep him in line, but not in a bad way, but just enough. And and
He
I don't know.
listens.
I just, yeah. And I like that relationship. So yeah, I mean, I don't, they're not my favorite team.
Kathy might have been talking about our previous team, but
Yeah, they're not. I mean, you can have whatever team you want as your favorites, but they're not my favorite team. But they are one of, so for sure.
they're definitely one of my favorite teams as well. Joseph says I'm proud too. They show that love can happen when you least expect it. At the time of the filming, they were dating 8 months. Oh, them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they said 8 months. Yeah, it
yeah.
was I think.
Claire, Derek, we might be in first. It's true. It's true. Yes. Is it wrong to say that we will learn more about Claire and Derek on this show than we did on Big Brother? Yes, definitely. I think you had written that a little bit beforehand, also, Joseph. Um, yeah, we're going to learn more about them on this show. Their season of Big Brother, the main focus was the cookout and the cookout story, and we didn't get to learn more about them because they were kind of B characters in that plot line. So I definitely think we're going to learn about them as individuals, as racers. I think we will learn more about them for sure. For sure. Okay, next up is we just talked about them. Our favorite peoples. Where are they? Right here. Our newlyweds. They came in second to the pit stop. Glenda and Lumumba. Get it? I'm pretty happy about that. I can't wait to see how close the times are because it'll
Yes.
really
Oh,
help me to understand how this leg went.
I'm obsessed with those times.
I know. I know.
Yeah, very happy.
Third place, another team that we have talked about. And we expect them to do well. And we're going to be looking at their dynamic for the season. We got Maddie and Quinton coming in third. I was like, that buzzer clock attitude is going to do very well for them.
It's the right attitude. It's their athletic background. It's just plus, 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 plus for a lot of these competitions. They're smart. They just, put their heads down and do it. And that's what you need to do. So they have the hustle to them. You know what I mean? So yeah, really like it.
Definitely have the hustle. The next team, I was happy, but they surprised me. Do you remember which team that
No,
was?
this is all surprising me because I watched it yesterday and I completely forget the order of who
Totally
arrived.
fine. The next team I was surprised by, it was hashtag Team Jamaica. Was in fourth place, Linton and Sharik.
Yeah.
I mean, they did work very well together, and but I was never expecting them to do as well as they did, being in fourth place, top of
Well,
the pack.
well, they picked up two places when the other teams didn't
Couldn't saw.
know how to get. Well, not even that. So they did really well with the sawing, but that tunnel to get to where Phil was, they
Right.
saw it, and the other teams
Went around.
went the other way, and so they were like, "It's here," and they picked up two places because of it. So yeah.
Which I mean, I'm really happy for them. My mom's from Jamaica, so I support Jamaica always.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll do in the long run, but having little moments like that where they're not panicking and they were able to kind of see what's going on and pick up two places right at the end, I was like, impressive. Okay, Yeah,
It's
we'll see.
great. I want to see their journey. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it so far. Next up is our twinnies, our new twinnies, Emily and Molly. So they're in fifth place. So up at the top five. I really am impressed by the top five. I do agree with you. Linton and Sharik would probably most likely not be in the top five, but I was impressed that they were there. But Molly and Emily rounding up the top five. I think they're going to be a strong team. I think they're going to stay at around this place or
Yeah,
higher.
and they seem, cool, calm, and collected even in moments where it's easy to be frantic, and I would be a complete mess if I was on the race, but, I can't wait to see more of them as well, so
So surprising, but we saw the reason why they missed the tunnel. But your, I think, favorite team, or the team that you're most like you're looking to see how they do, is our military brothers. So they're in sixth place.
yeah, this is such a because of the driving issue, which again probably didn't delay them all that much, but they seemingly got lost while they were driving. And then once they were there, they were a little kind of frantic and didn't know where to go and seemed to be making like quick decisions and don't, you know, they have that relationship obviously, but they don't see each other often now. So they have to get used to that, like, being in each other's presence again, and that kind of relationship takes a second to, like, click back in. So I don't know how they're gonna do. I would think they can do
I
really
think they're going
well
to
in
do
a lot
well.
of the challenges, but I can definitely see them, having some sort of, like, frantic little hiccup that can
Take them out.
maybe take them out midway or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
I
Yeah,
can see that
yeah.
too.
So
I,
we'll see
I
if
don't know
they
if I
get it
see them
together.
as the winners yet, but I can see them making it halfway at least. Next was a surprise to me. What did you think about the next team that came in?
I remember who it was because I thought they were going home, like, for most of the episode. Yeah, I was surprised, and they're still I hate to say this about anyone, but they're they're my I would say they're my least favorite, out of everyone. Um,
Yeah, they can go for me. Like
yeah,
I'm not gonna be upset.
yeah, so and I don't know. I think they were cast obviously for his fame, like, his, and getting a certain audience in. But sure, I mean, like, listen, do well, win it if you're capable. I mean, go for it. So I'm not gonna rag on anyone about not being able to or getting far because I feel like they don't deserve it or something. No, I mean, I don't follow sports, so but
Exactly.
but I think that, I wanna see what their friendship kind of turns into in regards to, like, how it works on this race.
Yeah, their
Um,
dynamic is actually kind of funny sometimes. Like he just tells him what to do and bosses him around. Like it's an okay relationship, but I don't like. I like other teams better.
and
So
I'm all for I love myself, some older people on the race as well. So, one of my favorite teams ever is, I don't think I can say an elderly couple, but just like, a couple that were, I think they look like they're in their 60s, but were like late 50s. So I enjoy kind of older
yeah,
representation.
I didn't see this, Kathy. I didn't notice two teams that didn't bring their bags to the mat. I believe that you're allowed
You can
to
drop them as long
drop
as they're,
them as long as you can see
yeah,
Phil. Like I
yeah.
think so if they when they came around the bend from that tunnel and they dropped their bag there and they ran to the pit stop, that would be fine, I would believe.
You could even like see Phil before you got into the tunnel, I think.
I just don't think they could leave it in like their car.
Yeah,
So
you can
I'd have
drop.
to go back and look at that. I did not notice that for anybody. I did not. Next up is a team that I don't remember who it is, so that's not great. Who are they?
Was it the dancers? I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I don't remember who they are. So, scroll. Is that them? No.
What did you write down for who came in next?
Their name is that their name? No. Who are oh, these two. Okay. Okay, so who do
Was
you
it
who do
our
you think it is? Because completely forgot about this team.
was it our
No,
firefighter and no.
it was our high school sweethearts.
Oh my god, and they're my favorite team. I want to talk about this. They're one of my favorite teams. Molly and Will? Is that their names?
Abby and Will, but
Yeah,
close.
I'm making stuff up. Abby, right, Abby with her energy and yes, and really overly excited about everything. Yeah, so I love this team as well, and I completely forgot about them as well. And they weren't doing great, and I was really I don't know why because they didn't show them doing bad. But yeah, so I'm worried. I feel like this might be like a Paige and Blake situation. Do you remember Paige and Blake, brother sister? We're going back like many moons. But I think Paige and Blake ended up in fifth place, and they were one of my favorites, and I wanted to see them, but they really could not get in the top three. Um, and I feel like this is gonna be one of those teams.
What I feel with them is like I like them. I think that they're sweet and endearing,
They've been together
but
for since high school sweethearts, right? Yeah.
yes. But what I fear for them is that they might not take it seriously enough for them to be competitive enough. Like they're just very happy, go lucky,
Well,
and love that they're
I
there.
think she really wants it though.
Okay,
And
we'll
I think
see.
she really wants it and he wants it because she wants it.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see how well they do, but it's worries me that I don't know who they are. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is that because they're going to do well and they're going to build their storyline later, or is
Yeah.
it because it's not going to matter because they're going to be out soon?
I love this. Okay, one comment, a little
Mhm.
scandalous. Maybe this is like reality realness after dark worthy, but I have a thing. I love them. Let me preface this. Literally one of my favorite couples. But I don't love couples that kind of look
They
like
look
they could be
exactly the
siblings.
same.
They
They
could
look
be
like
siblings.
fraternal twins.
Yeah, and I don't yeah, exactly, okay. I was like, "Is it just me?" Or,
No,
yeah, there's when I was watching them, I'm like, I do love them, genuinely, but
but they're brother and sister.
I was like, "Oh," like, so it was a little weird for me. Maybe
I
they should do a
agree.
23andMe test.
I mean, maybe that's why they like each other. Maybe it's why I don't know. I don't think that they are related,
They just
but
look similar, yeah, so it always
they
kinda
look a
throws
lot
me
alike.
when couples, look similar like that, but I think
I
they're
wonder if
really
their
sweet.
parents look alike. That's what we should go look
Yeah.
into.
Really sweet. I want them to do super well. I want them to be at the end of the race. They're one of my top 3, so I'm just putting it out there.
Oh, they're not one of my top three, but I think they're cute. Then we had surprisingly, they figured out the log and they got to the pit stop. Who do you think it is? We
Oh.
got our motivational
Oh,
speakers rounding out the ninth place position. Oh, see, Kathy agrees. They do look alike. I would have thought they were siblings. Yeah,
I
100%.
know, right?
Not these two, but the other
Not
two.
these 2. Yeah.
So Rich and Dom, we kind of talked about them already. I feel like this is kind of around the position that they're going to hover in for their time on the race.
Yeah,
I don't see them at the front of the pack.
I
I
know.
think,
I definitely see them, like, struggling at the end just to kinda stay out of last for a couple rounds and then going my I don't know. Prove me wrong, I hope, but,
yeah, prove me wrong for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Then we had coming in our 10th spot. Our one, there's a lot of dancers this time around, which I think is
Yeah.
interesting. So this one is Luis and Michelle. So they came in 10th place.
I was very surprised. I thought they would have done a lot better.
Yeah, because he looks really fit and just like I feel like he could just like
Yeah.
throw that barrel down and like do
Well,
the
he's
saw
the
really
one who
easily.
pulled her when they were sawing, and
Was
she was
that
like,
that
"Oh,"
couple?
like, yeah.
I don't
It
know
was
the difference between the two Latina couples. So this is like Team Croquetas, and
so
then
so she so, uh, I don't know that their race relationship is gelling, and I mean that in the sense of, like, not that they're not getting along or anything, I just mean, like, I just didn't feel like they were working well together, which caused this. I just would have thought that they would be like top 3, 4 material for sure. And I mean, again, this round was really quick. I don't think there was a lot of differences in times for a lot of people, but we'll see with the next round what happens. But I think they
Mhm.
have a lot of potential.
They do. I definitely was shocked to see where they landed. I did not see them to be. I thought they're going to be a front of the pack team.
Yeah.
And then coming in 11, so this was where the drama was between, like, we did we even see any of Asta and Nina at all? We did see Aubrey and
Their
David.
their
Hmm?
4 attempts on the barrel thing we saw, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we did see that. Oh my god, we did see that. And that actually pissed me off that they couldn't figure out how to get it 1 second faster. Um like, because you're just going to get more tired the more that you don't do it, or the more that you do it. So
Yeah.
don't do it too many times. But in 11th place is Aubrey and David. So they're another dance duo. So that's the third dance duo, I believe, that we have, or third or fourth. Um, they just so happen to get there right in front of. So they're on the mat with Phil, thinking that they came in last, and then they see Asta and Nina
Love
running
that
around the
moment.
corner. That was a great
Love that
moment.
moment. I'm like, you know what? They should do more of where your back's not facing the area that you're running in from, but that you're actually like stopped and facing kind of where you would run in from, so you can see people come up for more situations like that to happen. Because you saw it on her face where she
Oh,
was like,
just like
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
great,
hard to be like happy, because, like, oh my god, that means that they're going home, especially knowing that everybody's being
yeah.
eliminated. But like, that was
Yeah,
good
a
drama.
little blander of a couple for me overall, but that moment stands up like it really is an iconic moment. I will remember that moment,
It
for
was a great
sure.
moment.
So,
I think
yeah,
she's more of the highlight of this duo. We'll see if he sparkles as well. And then lastly, our team to come in and go home was this dating couple or engaged
yeah.
couple.
I mean, we heard a lot of their story. We saw them struggle right out of the gate. So to me, it was super obvious that they were going the whole episode.
Well, especially when they started to not do well at certain
Yeah.
tasks.
Yeah,
Like,
and then they struggled. Yeah. So, yeah, we didn't really get to, I mean, we heard their story, but we didn't get to see their dynamic together really. So, I mean, we did, but it's just it didn't feel like fully developed. Like I just wanted to see more of them still, but you need to have that kind of like oomph, like that kind of like just go go go, and they were just way too just kind of like this is like a trip. Hey, how are you? How you doing? Like, yeah, I'm from LA. Cool. So like it was just too relaxed for me, and I if they stayed and had more of that next round, I would be screaming at the
yeah, I mean,
screen.
even
So
how well they took their elimination, I was like, okay, like, if you were to take this, I would be devastated
yeah,
if we were out first on The Amazing
yeah.
Race.
Oh my
And they
god,
were just like, oh my God, like, I'm doing this with my best friend. I wouldn't do it with anybody else in the
because you're
world.
not
Like, I'm
even
so happy to be there.
you
Like,
didn't even travel anywhere on The Amazing Race. You went to, like, one location and stayed there, so you didn't even get that whole kinda, like, I get to travel, I get to, like, do things like yeah, it was very confined day in the life of an amazing, racer, and so it's just I would feel cheated. Yeah, even like, I'm not even other teams that have been eliminated on the first leg of a race before have had more of an experience, I feel like, than these 2. So,
for sure.
I would've been really not happy about it. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
good to
mm,
have a good attitude, but, like, at the
yeah,
same
it's fine to have a
time
good attitude, but I wish that
yeah,
like, we know that they weren't trying that hard for the fact that they weren't as devastated. So that's kind of the thing. It's like, I wanted to see them hustle more. I wanted to see them want to be there more and not just be satisfied with going home. That's
yeah,
basically it. But I
exactly.
love them. I thought that they had a good attitude, as you mentioned, and I would have liked to maybe see them do a little bit more, but them going home, I'm also okay with it, because it doesn't seem like they're going to hustle in future legs anyways. So they're nice, they're sweet. I wish them the best, but I can't wait till next week for another episode. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you. It was so good. And like we said at the beginning, it seemed refreshed this season. So I think it's going to be a great season, even just as like a standalone, but especially after kind of the seasons that we've had
Mhm.
and the Canadian version as well. This will feel like, to me anyway, I feel like this will feel like one of the best seasons.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Feel like home. Kathy says, I wish teams didn't get eliminated right away. I'd like it better no matter what the show is if they had longer chance to figure things out. I don't mind like a first eliminate, like no elimination first round. Like I don't mind that. Just because I do agree getting your race or legs on sometimes, just like the pace and like how quickly you have to think on your feet and like making quick decisions, like that's just could be a new like way that you had to live in your body. And so I don't mind giving them a first chance like reprise, but I also don't mind them going home at first this time around either, right? I'm okay with it,
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. I
but I don't
mean,
hate it.
I'm good with people going because I'm
I
like,
but I don't like a first light elimination on like Big Brother. Like I think that that's terrible, and I don't like it on Survivor. It's like
well, yeah, that
okay,
I think it's very different too because this is like there's a set of skills and you can definitely see teams that maybe don't really have it. So when you're kind of trimming the fat and just like getting rid of like a team that's not going to do well, probably never going to do well, yeah, whereas like something like Big Brother, that's different. I mean, you can be getting rid of someone who would do maybe might win the whole show. So yeah, it's very very different. I mean, not to reference another reality show, Drag Race, we've seen someone who's like a first elimination, Vanjie, get to final, 5 or 4, whatever it was. So like, yeah. But with Amazing Race, I do think that um, it's one of those rare ones where I'm okay with someone going home right away because they usually generally are
but I
not gonna
don't
probably do
like
well.
it when it's like run and find your clue, and like if you can't find your clue in the first 10 teams, you're gone. Like I don't like that. I want them to at
Right,
least
of course.
run a
Yeah, yeah.
leg.
No, not that, not that, not
um
that.
I hate that when they do that. I'm just like,
Yeah,
that's stupid. Like, oh,
yeah.
they didn't get to their backpack quickly enough, so they're gonna go home. Or even
No. But
the
like a fully
team,
flushed episode like
yeah,
this and someone goes, I'm fine with, yeah.
they had a good shot. So Jonah, I agree. Like, but Aubrey and David were randomly in last. I was like, I forgot about them. Yeah, I didn't really know that much about them. I agree. I agree. Well, this has been fun. I can't wait to talk about this with you every week because you you really enjoy the Amazing Race, and so it's fun.
I do.
So, thanks everybody for being in the chat. I know Big Brother is happening right now. I'm going to go and catch up and watch that and fast forward my commercials. So, that's why I don't mind going over sometimes. But thanks for being here and being part of the conversation. Thanks for giving Jonathan some props for all the work that he does in his real life. So, that's great. And not minding me flaunting the fact that I had my best friends. Pretty cool. And other than that, we'll be back next week. Please leave us a like, get this video to 100 likes. That's not even that many. 100 likes or 100 dislikes, whichever you prefer. And let's find out in the comment section below who your favorite teams are. Give me your top 3 teams. Who do you like the best? I think my top 3 teams are Claire and David, or Claire and David, I just don't even know his name. Claire and Derek. I like your short tall team.
Yeah.
Imumba.
The 2 for 2 there. And then my third one, if I was picking a third, would be who I called Molly, and I still don't remember her real
Oh,
name.
oh, you
And
like them.
yeah, that's my third team. So those
Abby
2
and
that you
Will.
mentioned, Abby and Will, and those 2 teams you
I
mentioned.
think those. So I'm gonna take the twins then. I'll take the actual Molly and Emily. So it's my third favorite team because I really want to see them do well.
Yeah,
And then fourth, I
yeah,
think I like
yeah.
I like the
They're probably
Quentin
my
and
4th.
Maddie. I think I'm gonna like them. Anyways,
There's a
there's a
lot
lot
of
of teams.
teams I'm rooting for, yeah,
Good.
so we'll
They're
see.
good. Let us know who you like, please. Maybe I'll put a poll up. Other than that, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.